This is video 5 of the CUTP template instructional series. In this video we will be demonstrating how to complete the Supported Training Days scheduler. To get to the Supported Training Days scheduler, click on the Activities button from the main menu screen. The default tab in the Activities module is the optional activities and events. For Supported Training Days and weekends, click on the second tab from the left. The steps for completing the screen are listed here. The object of this screen is to schedule when the 10 supported days will take place. These 10 days include the 4 training periods days, plus the 2 days for the complementary choice. In the PO Wizards, you define the content of these days, in other words, the what, and it is on this screen that you will decide when they will take place, along with 4 additional mandatory days per your elemental program. To view a list of these 10 days, click the Supported Training Status button here, and the screen instructions toggle to view the list for each level or phase for years 1 to 4. These are the days you need to schedule. The days are scheduled in the lower area in this screen, while the list above depopulates when the days have been scheduled. When all of the days have been scheduled, the list above will appear blank. Note, if the PO Wizards have not been completed, supported training days will not appear for scheduling. Always the what and then the when. For the sea and the air, sailing and gliding scheduled activities must be entered by clicking on the elemental button located here and by entering the day or days as needed. To do so, you simply click in the date field to get the pop-up calendar. Use the controls to select the month, and then selecting the day as appropriate. If another day is needed, simply go to the next record and continue. And when done, click on the X to close the form. For the Army, the Silver and Gold Star activities at the Expedition Center have been pre-entered with the available information at the time of production. No further action is required regarding Expedition Center activities, and dates can be changed by clicking in the date field, like so, and using the pop-up calendars to select the desired dates. The original date can also be restored by clicking in the date field to get the pop-up calendar, and then using the reset button to the pre-assigned date. Aside from these elemental specific activities for the sea, land, and air, the remaining activities in the list above must be scheduled down below here. The list above is only a display, and selections are all made in this area down below. To schedule these days, you begin by clicking in the exercise name field. You type the name that you wish to have for the activity, and then you use the drop-down selections to the right. I'm going to begin by creating a training periods day for one of the sports days. So I would like to have the name appear as the Fall Sports Day. The next field to the right is the training type. You select whether it's a day or a weekend activity, in this case a day activity, and then I click in the date for the activity. It's going to take place on Saturday, October 26th. Because it's a day activity, as I move to the right now, I'm going to start assigning levels that will be participating in this activity using these drop-downs. Again, because it's a day activity, only day activities are in the list, so it filters accordingly. Here's my Fall Sports Day. I'm going to select it, and in this case, everyone's going to be participating in this day. You can see that as I selected Fall Sports Day, it depopulated from the reference lists above. I then continue on down to the next record in order to create my next activity or event for supported training days. In this case, I'm going to show you a weekend activity. It's going to be my mandatory field exercise, which I'm going to call Exercise Falling Leaf. This is a weekend activity. also going to take place in October. Now you notice I have a start and an end date because it's a weekend activity. My start date is going to be Friday the 18th. The standard default then for the end date is going to be for a 3-day weekend type activity. If you want a different end date, you can select that date. Otherwise, simply go with the default dates and hit return. Just like we did with the activity above, we're going to assign levels who will be participating in this activity. Because it's a weekend activity, the filtered list is displaying only weekend activities, and I'm going to assign the levels who will be participating. If I'm a large unit, I may be creating an exercise where only particular training levels are going to participate, and then I would go to the next record to create an activity for the other levels to have their exercise. But for the purpose of my demonstration, I'm just going to keep it as everybody participating in the same exercise. And so I've got a day activity and a weekend activity, and that shows you really easily how it's done. Just as a quick tip, if I want to look at the EO content behind these days, I can click on the EOs button, and I get this screen, and I can see down here in this bottom right hand area the EOs that have been pre-assigned to this activity. And in this case, this is a sports day, so for each level we can see exactly what was assigned. And likewise for our weekend exercise, again, we can see the exact content that was pre-assigned to this mandatory exercise. So we still have a bit of work to do to complete the scheduling of all 10 days for each level or phase, and we're going to go off camera and come back with that complete. And we're back, and as you can see, this is what our supported training day scheduler looks like with all 10 days assigned. We have all of our activities here, and this is exactly the result that we want. Is the lists up above have all depopulated as each activity is scheduled, and they are completely blank. And we have our elemental choice taken care of as well. At this point, we want to talk to you a little bit about another option that you have on the EOS button, and that is where you can use this same EOS screen that we talked to you about for viewing pre-assigned content down here in the bottom right, and you can actually use it to attach additional EOS to activities. In the case of a day activity, the only option that you have is attaching Year 5 self-study content to training periods days, and we don't have any Year 5 cadets yet, so that's not an option at this point. For a weekend activity, you can attach other content within reason, and the attachments that you make should be both reasonable and logical to the activity that they are being attached to. In order to do this, you make use of the training level or phase filter to select the year that you want to work with. From there, select an appropriate PO. In this case, for this exercise, and the exercise is shown at the top and what levels are participating, I'm going to pick radio communication PO 129. There's a single EO here that would fit nicely with my exercise, and I simply double click on the EO, and that moves it to the right. This is the field where the EOs have been selected and attached to this exercise. If I want to unattach that EO, I simply double click on it over here, and it pops back to the list of EOs not attached. But I do want to keep this EO in the list of EOs attached to this exercise. Attached EOs will appear in the verification report and will be visible as your training plan submission is reviewed. The remaining button on this screen is the Activity Details button, which will be covered in another video. In our next video, we will be turning to the creation of the parade night training schedule and demonstrating the initial scheduler.